Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell in the upper right-hand corner. Follow me on all forms of social media. Check me out at thatdrummerguy.com and enjoy the following presentation.
Hi, Josh.
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah, not bad, mate. You okay?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for taking time to do this interview.
That's no problem at all. No problem.
Oh, awesome. Well, of course, we're here to talk about the brand new album from Uriah Heep, Living the Dream, which is coming out the 14th of September through Frontiers Music. I've gotten the chance to be able to check out this album over the last few weeks, and I absolutely love what you guys are doing this time around. I love the atmosphere of what's going on, the great melodic moments, the great heavy moments. It captures everything I love about Uriah Heep, but just in 2018.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thanks very much indeed. We really do appreciate the feedback that we get from it because whilst we're caught up and very close to home with the music that we write and that, we're also very anxious and we're very much wanting everybody, including yourselves as well as the fans, to really enjoy the music that we create.
Oh, that's so great to hear that too. I'm glad to see that the reception is overwhelming as it is for my personal reception of it as well, because it is such a great album, and I'm glad to see that it is getting the love that it deserves.
Yeah, I mean it's going down well, and we're looking forward to the release date so that more and more people and the fans that get to hear it let us know about it, and we're certainly thrilled with it, and the feedback we're getting is very positive, which is good, and we hope that when we start touring and adding some of the songs off of that album into a rehash set that we're going to do, that the fans that come and see us play live will enjoy it just as much as well as they do putting this CD on or the album on.
So with that said, I mean, what is that like for you, just knowing that a couple weeks from now that the album will be out for everybody to hear?
It's exciting for us because it gives us an opportunity, of course, when you're writing new music and you really like the album, you do want to perform it live, and you do want people to hear that you're an ongoing entity and you're not a band that just relies on the classic hits. Of course, the classic hits are what made Uriah Heep, and they're always in the set. But, we are growing as musicians and as a band, and it's important for us to keep on producing great music for the people to hear. So when we go out there and do some new songs, it's very exciting for us to see the response and get a feel for what people are thinking about it.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad to see that the inspiration is still there after all this time, because there are other bands that are just releasing albums that are very uninspired. They don't care about it, and they're just using it as an excuse to go out there and tour again. But you guys, I can definitely tell throughout this album that you wanted to create these songs. You want to keep the passion and the drive going for Uriah Heep and constantly continue to try to make the best music possible.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's why people say to us, you're still doing 100, 120 shows a year. And our answer is always, we get as the biggest thrill from walking on that stage in any country, playing to the people that love our music. The biggest thrill when we first do it to the next time that we do it, because it's that spark that's in you that you can't help yourself but want to be out there and perform great music to so many people all over the world. If that spark wasn't there, then I think you get some of what you were saying just then, or you get the musicians retiring and this, that and the other, because it will become a hard slog with all of the amount of travelling that you do, which does wear you out. If the gigs and the fans weren't as good as they were, the travelling alone would just make you not want to do it. And to some people, if they haven't got that spark and energy and that want to perform, that's why they retire. But not for us. We absolutely adore doing it. We get very excited about playing in every single one of the 61 countries that we do, and we love playing the old classics because we know how much emotion and how much it means to people in their lives to hear those classic songs, as well as the excitement of the new ones, because we're very thrilled to always keep, as I said, growing as a band and producing new stuff as well as playing the old stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I really love about the album too. It's like, I'm not sure how much of the new album is going to be represented live, but I do listen to the album, and it just feels like in a live setting that these songs would fit so perfectly amongst the back catalog, but it still sounds fresh and inspired, and that's just going to make for an amazing night every time that you guys go out and play, because, I mean, no matter how long you've been around, I mean, the fact that the music music just sounds just as inspired back then as it does today, and vice versa. It's so great to see that.
Yeah, I mean, we've never really had a problem with new material. We've never really had a problem in creating. I mean, obviously, there's certain things that come in and we start jamming them, and they just don't seem to fit the right way, and so you're not getting the right vibe from a certain riff or a chorus or something like a melodic line. But because we've got so much experience and we know really what Uriah Heep's all about, it's very easy for us to take something simple or even take a complete song and just tweak it so that it becomes what Uriah Heep is. And I think that's a bit fortunate for us, but also the great chemistry that goes on between the band and the understanding and the skill that we have. It makes it really easy for us. So we've never really had a problem with those situations, and so that makes it even more relaxing and happy for us and exciting.
So with that said, I mean, obviously, like I've mentioned before, I mean, the new album just sounds so fresh and so inspired, and I really love where you guys are at right now. Was it that way when you were recording it as well this time around? I mean, was that creative chemistry still flowing on all cylinders when we're writing this album?
Yeah, I mean, we decided on this album. The thing is with some of the record companies' attitude sometimes, and it's not a knock on them, but they're in their offices, they don't realise we're a very, very busy band, and sometimes where are we supposed to find the time for writing, to get together, to work on ideas, to come up with a whole album's worth of songs? Sometimes the schedule is just relentless and they're expecting it next month and we've got 10 days to do everything. It's a bit like that, and sometimes it makes it difficult. So this time we were very, very sure of ourselves about having enough material, about getting together, doing a proper pre-production and really fine-tuning and picking everything so that when we went into the studio with the fantastic Jay Ruston, the producer, we had a bunch of material that was ready to create a fantastic album. And that's really the secret behind it. You've got to have enough material, you've got to do pre-production so it gets rid of all the funny little bits that might not work for the song and the bits that enhance the song, so you're ready to go in and actually record a great album. And the way we record is that we're very much a band that likes to put all the backing tracks down together. So the guitar, keyboards, drums and bass all go down as a backing track, because we create such a great chemistry within our playing that to do it separately you'd miss some of that magic. And because the band comes from the old school, that's where the magic was, where they didn't have Pro Tools to change everything and that. You have to keep doing the take. We want to make sure that we create the right sort of energy and vibe and power, and you can only really do that if the chemistry works with a band and you actually go in and record it as a band.
Yeah, and I was very curious about that as well, because it definitely does have that great live band feel that is missing in so much music today, where all the musicians are tracking their instruments separately rather than playing together. And I think that's why I really appreciate this album so much, because it really does feel like you guys recorded the album together, because you did record the album together.
That's exactly right. And it's funny, the music business is destroying itself in so many ways, with the free downloading, with the computer that's being 100% right. Music isn't about being 100% right. Music is an emotion, it's an expression, and it takes people on a journey. And whether it's 3 minutes or 23 minutes, or whether it's a little bit loose, or it speeds up, or the sound, you can hear the squeaks there, and the crackle of the voice there, it doesn't matter. You're creating something, and anything that creates has to be free to express itself. And the computers and the way in which people are going about it now are suffocating that, and it's destroying what music is really all about. Because when you go back and listen to those, the rock and roll where it started in the 50s, you listen to the 50s, 60s, 70s, where technology wasn't able to suppress any of that. The most beautiful music happened, and everyone agrees that. So why are we destroying it? Well, unfortunately, the business is run by the people who have the power, and this is what happens. And you can't fight it 100%, but you can do your little bit towards it. Unfortunately, that's what we're doing. So I'm glad that you feel the same way and that you like it and you can hear it. That's good.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, and just like so much of what you talked about, it's just like, it doesn't need to be so mechanically precise when it comes to a song, because that's not what you're going to be experiencing in the live setting. I mean, sometimes it goes a little faster, sometimes it goes a little slower, sometimes there'll be a missed note or a missed cymbal hit, or the guitar's a little out of tune, or whatever whatever the case is, but that's the human experience. And, it's about the overall
Correct.
idea of the song rather than it being just so precise.
That's exactly right. It's an experience, and it's like every live performance. I never play the same performance the same ever. I treat my performance like my first gig, which would be the most exciting thing in the world, and my last gig, because I would want everybody to hear the most special gig possible. If I keep that concept in my brain, I have now got the highest consistency I could possibly have, and it keeps me excited as a musician, which hopefully translates to the audience, which is why you get that connection, which is why people adore those bands that play really well live. And if they happen to like the new music that you create in the albums, that's another bonus as well.
Absolutely. So, in speaking of that as well, I mean, especially when it comes into the live setting, what kind of setup are you using right now in 2018?
On the drums, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, on the drums, I'm using two 24 by 16 inch bass drums. I just signed to a new company in England called British Drum Company, and the shells and the quality and precision is absolutely phenomenal. And it was so funny because when we went up for pre-production, I didn't even, obviously I'd ordered my kit, but my kit actually wasn't ready. It was actually being finished the afternoon of when they sent it up to the studios for pre-production, so I had to put it together and hope that it was actually going to sound any good, and it sounded incredible. And so I use on stage two 24 by 16 bass drums, one hanging 13 by 9 tom-tom in the middle, a 14 by 14 floor, a 16 by 16 floor, a superb 22 by 14 gong drum, which sounds like a cannon. It's absolutely incredible. And a 14 6.5 matching birch snare drum, which has got all the body and the crack that I want from a snare drum. It's absolutely fantastic. And I don't like big kits. It might look like a big kit. It might seem, as I'm speaking now, there's a big kit, but really it's not. The two bass drums, because I like two bass drums, the U looks good, the H looks good, and they've got separation on the every time I play double kick, which is good. But really, it's one hanging tom, two floors, and I've just got the gong drum because I love gong drums, so it's not really a large kit.
Yeah, and I've always been that mindset where the drum set should only be as much as you need it to be. I mean, if you're bringing all of these extra cymbals and extra mini toms or whatever the case is for just like one note during the entire show, there's no need to have that a part of your setup, and you can do that in a different way with a smaller kit. And the way that you describe that kit, I mean, it sounds absolutely perfect for what you need to accomplish, and I'm sure it looks amazing seeing that new setup.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. And I did it in the 80s. I did the whole thing. I got an endorsement. I had one of everything, and I made sure I hit one of everything. And then I suddenly realised that's not really what I'm supposed to be doing. I should adapt my setup to the musical project that I'm involved with. And that's why, there isn't a right and wrong. It's a bit like holding sticks. There's not a right or wrong way of holding it. If you're missing out on a bit of speed, power and control and dynamics, you've got to look at your grip. And if you're playing a certain kind of project that requires a certain kind of drum sound or muffling or whatever, cymbal setup, whatever it is, a skilled and experienced musician would pick his setup to suit that musical project, and that's really what you should be doing. You're there to accompany, to lay down the foundation and accompany a superb song, whether it's instrumental or vocal. So therefore you have to respect that by having the appropriate drums and cymbals set up to accommodate that. That's the job of the drummer. And laid down, be fantastic, be very solid, be very consistent, have lovely feel, good timing, use your ears, use your eyes, and off you go.
And with that, I mean, of course, you mentioned you signed on to a new drum company now, and you're able to experience these new drums now. How does it feel now after this amount of time with this new company?
I'm absolutely thrilled to bits. I mean, the drums they express me how I want to be expressed, and that's an important thing. I've struggled with certain aspects with certain companies before. Don't get me wrong. All the companies out there make phenomenal drums. The way in which people are making drum sets now is incredible, and everyone's got it nailed. They all do it. But there's certain things that I require, that I like, and I have had them in the past, and unfortunately the relationship's broken down with those certain companies. But with the British Drum Company now, I'm pleased to say that what I like is I've got all the frequencies I need in all the drums for the right reasons, and it's important for me that my musical instrument represents how I play. That's the important thing. Otherwise, they might as well get any drummer. The whole point of being an individual is to have your own expression as well as your thought process for playing the right part for the song, as I just said. But, you should really have a sound that adapts to your personality and what it is that you're trying to put across in your rhythmical makeups and your performances. And this is what British Drum Company does for me. As soon as I hit those drums in the studio, I got all the aspects from the bass drum, fantastic, all the aspects from the tom-toms, the gong drum and the snare drum, and I was just 100% happy.
Oh, and that makes me happy to hear that too. I mean, when you're able to find the right setup for you, the right company, the right sticks, cymbals, heads, drums, hardware, all that stuff, and you're able to just be yourself in the studio and live, and it's so great to see that you do have that aspiration as well to, just like you mentioned before, like playing every show like it's your first show and your last show, and just being able to have that personality come out through and just enjoy what you're doing, playing this music, and it's great to see that that's happening in all sides.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, there's nothing worse than going on stage knowing that your drums are not going to sound how you want to sound, number one. Your cymbals are not the right sizes or creating the right sound that you want them to do. The skins, you're worried whether they're going to perform and draw out the best sound from the shells, or whether they're going to split or last, or all of the problems, the sticks breaking in the middle of this, all those are problems that you don't need to have mentally when you're out there trying to enjoy the show and give the fans the best performance of their life. And certainly in the recording, you're doing a fantastic take, and then there's a problem. So you've either got to drop it or do the take again, and it's not your fault. That's not what you want as an artist. I can now go on stage, and all I need to do is enjoy playing the drums and getting into the crowd and the fans and making sure they have the best time of their lives. And that feeling is the best, because that puts me 100% relaxed. And if you're 100% relaxed as a musician, you play better because you have nothing to worry about. Your brain is focused on the right things.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more with that. And, from the fan perspective, from the musician standpoint, I mean, there's so many different ways you can look at it. But, I mean, Jeff, definitely with what you just said, I mean, if you're as comfortable as you can possibly be up there behind the kit, being able to play what you want to play, knowing every note that you're going to play is exactly what you want it to be, tone and frequency-wise, and there's no other worries, you're going to make sure that the band's going to be playing the best they possibly can, and the fans are going to be having such an amazing experience and want to be able to go back and see you again.
Exactly right. I mean, that's the whole idea. The best performances are the ones where you've got so much confidence, you're very relaxed, and you can rely on your instrument and your crew and realise, your sound engineer. I've been up front, we've got a fantastic young sound engineer who's got the most incredible ears. He understands drums. It's nice for a sound engineer to come up to me and go, right, tell me what your sound is. I want to hear it acoustically, and I want to understand what it is you're trying to put across so I can amplify it. That's how it should be. Now, I can completely relax knowing that he understands me as a musician, as long as my drums are tuned properly and set up properly so that I can perform to the best of my ability. My God, I'm going out on stage 100% confident and relaxed. I'm having a wonderful time.
Oh, absolutely. And you're going to be able to experience that so much coming up on all these amazing shows that are going to be coming up throughout the end of the year and into 2019 as well. How does it feel to finally be able to go back and represent this new album live with all that in mind?
Yeah, as I said, we're really excited about the new album being released September 14. We're going in the first week of October to completely rehash this out. I mean, we really do want to put some old tracks in that the band hasn't played for, a hell of a long time. Donkey's years, which will be great for the fans, great for us. Still going to keep the classics in there because that's a very special thing for the fans to hear. But we really want to chop up the set and really make it exciting with this really good album and pick the right tracks off the new album that work with some of the really old stuff that people haven't heard for years and really make a big impact going into 2019. We feel as though it's time now that if we've got such a good album, we don't want to waste the new album as far as playing live. We want to insert the correct songs off the new album that work with some of the old stuff that people haven't heard for ages to give people a really new, exciting live live set from Uriah Heep.
So with that in mind, I mean, obviously with being able to promote the album in the right way, playing the right songs in the live setting and everything that goes with that, how was it decided what songs were going to be released as singles before the album came out?
Well, obviously the record company play a big part in that. They have suggestions to what gets released first, and then that gets passed through to our management and us, and we sort of decide on what we feel will be right, and hopefully it works out that there's a lot of people thinking the same way, and away it goes.
Yeah,
and we were very fortunate that this worked out exactly how we liked it to work out.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, there were some excellent choices that went into deciding what were going to be released as singles. I mean, there's so many great songs on the album. I mean, possibly every single song could have been released as a single and show off a great representation of what this album is about, but I'm really happy to see the choices that were made for it, because it does show a great diverse sound of what is going on the album.
Yeah, you said exactly right there, that the word is diverse, and that's what we like about this album. There's a bit of everything. From each song's got its own little thing about it, whether it's a different kind of feel, a different kind of prog concept, or a bit of an energy concept, or a ballady concept. You know, it's got a bit of everything on it. So therefore, quite rightly so, there were a number of choices that could have represented the band in the first, second single and stuff. But I think we got it right. We wanted to come out with a high energy one so that people knew that we were serious about this new album, and we're serious about playing again. And, you know, because we still do get, now and again, people expecting a bunch of old men to get on stage and just struggle to get through a set if they haven't seen us for quite a while. And we want to put that to bed. You know, we're very, very powerful, very energetic band, and the album represents that. So we wanted the singles to represent and wake people up to the fact that we're still serious about what we do.
And I can also imagine, you know, just the fact that you never play a song the same way twice, which I think is such a refreshing thing to hear, especially from the drumming perspective. I imagine that's got to be a great feeling, knowing how diverse this album is, being able to play some great heavy moments, some great more melodic moments, mellow moments throughout the entire album as a drummer.
Oh, it's fantastic, because I really like to home in on... I'm a drummer that gets inspired by what's down, so I like to listen to the song. I like to know the part that the guitar's playing, because every part that's being played has a rhythmical bit to it. You know, you've got the rhythm and you've got melody. That's what you've got. And I listen to the rhythm of what's being played, and I listen to the melody of what's being played, and that inspires me to come up with the foundation rhythmical parts. And then sometimes when I come up with those parts, it might tweak the bass or the guitar or the keyboards or even the vocal line to change what they're doing, because obviously that's what happens. You know, you feed off one another, and as someone does something else, it inspires you to then come up with this kind of part or that kind of part. And so when these songs were milling around in pre-production, it was great for me, because I don't want to just go boom, gat on everything and just speed it up and slow it down. I want to be musically interesting as a drummer, because I come from, you know, I played every style of music growing up, and so it's a waste if I don't incorporate some of it, not for the sake of it, but I have that ammunition to use if I need to use it, just to make it a little bit more musically interesting, not only for me and for the people, but it adds another dimension to the song. So it's fantastic for me to play the simple stuff, the laid back heavy stuff, the intricate stuff, the high energy stuff, because what can I say, you know, having all them flavors keeps the inspiration going.
Absolutely. And again, that's what I love so much about this brand new album from Uriah Heep. I mean, it covers so much ground of what I've loved about the band, incorporating some new ideas that I didn't know could be possible in Uriah Heep, but also just maintaining that core sound while being able to expand your horizons. And if I ever do get the opportunity to be able to see these new sounds live in that live setting with these upcoming touring that's going on, I mean, I'm going to be so excited to see how everything's going to be matching up with the older material, the stuff that hasn't been played in a very long time, this brand new stuff that'll be played for the first time. I mean, there's no reason not to go out and see Uriah Heep on this upcoming tour.
That's exactly right. And again, it is lucky for us, with the history of nearly 50 years coming up, we were able to be that diverse, which is a big bonus to anybody coming out to see a fantastic rock show, because we can put, you know, some old classic classics in that have made such a massive impact to millions of people all over the world are new, fresh stuff that goes down just as well as the old stuff. With such a variety of feels and grooves and musicalities, it enables us to put together such an interesting and musical show that I think people get value for ticket, and that's important for me. When people pay to go and see someone live, they need to have those extra. Why am I paying the ticket? If you're just going to play the album, I might as well stay at home and save me money. I think people need something special when they go and see a live concert. That's what you're paying the ticket for, to see those bits that you can't get on CD or DVD. It's those extra little bits that make that unique night very special for that person.
And I think with that, I think that's an amazing note to end on. Thank you so very much for taking all this time to be able to talk to me about everything that's going on in the world of Uriah Heep right now. And of course, the brand new album, Living the Dream, which is coming out the 14th of September through Frontiers Music. I absolutely love this album. It was amazing to be able to get your insight into drumming and Uriah Heep, the upcoming shows, everything that's going on. And I truly appreciate you taking the time to be able to talk to me.
That's no problem, Josh. Thank you very much indeed for the interview.